In this heartfelt episode of Behind the Strength, we sit down with Pooja Khanna, a mother, a storyteller, and an unwavering advocate for children with special needs. Through her daughter Nora, who has Down syndrome, Pooja is changing the narrative around diagnosis, acceptance, and joy. Her journey is one of empathy, resilience, and fierce maternal love. Welcome to Behind the Strength.
Thanks. Good morning.
Good morning, Pooja. Pooja, can you take us back to the day Nora was born? What were the emotions, you experienced on that day? All moms have some emotions.
Right. So Nora was prematurely born, so we were clearly not expecting her to be born on the day she was.
Okay.
I was 7 months pregnant. I was completely on bed rest for the previous months that led to that.
Okay.
I had a low cervix, so I had an incompetent cervix, like they call it medically, which is why I was stitched. My cervix was stitched, and I was just resting. But I think the whole day I was leading up to her birth, I was getting cramps, and I assumed they were Braxton Hicks. So I was like, this can't be happening so soon.
Right.
And that was the first day the doctor had allowed me to actually step out of bed and get ready and go for dinner.
Oh.
So I was actually looking forward to doing that. Yeah,
Yes,
dinner.
Of course, just a
And
mundane activity.
I remember talking to my mother-in-law and saying that, you know what, I'm getting like these cramps in my stomach. Like, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just anxious that I have to get out today or what.
Right.
So she's like, are you sure? Like, they're not, you're not there today.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I said, I don't think they seem like that, but I've heard of Braxton Hicks, so maybe it's one of those.
Yeah.
It's like, so my doctor was at Hinduja, Khar. So she's like, why don't you on the way, anyways, you guys are going in the evening for dinner towards Bandra. So why don't you guys just
Dr.
stop
Coelho?
over? No, Dr. Nozair.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So, yeah. So why don't you just stop over on the way and just like show, so that... So I was all decked up, dressed, ready for dinner in a black dress. And I'm like, where do we go first? To the hospital. So I was like, okay, fine, let's just do this. We reached the ER and I'm calling my doctor, and they put that thing on your stomach to check
Of course.
where you are. And these contractions are getting closer in time.
Oh my God.
And I still am ignoring it. So I have a high threshold for pain, but clearly I think I was being oblivious to my pain.
Yeah, you reached the delusional mode that I just need to go out and,
I'll do
this
anything
can't
for
be
this
happening
dinner.
right now.
Yeah. So then by the time we reached there, I was in active labor.
Oh my God.
And they said, no, this baby is coming now. I'm like, no, I want to go for dinner. Keep it for a few more hours.
2 hours more, please. Oh my God.
And then the doctor said, Dr. Nozair came and he said, no, this baby needs to come now because she's ready. Because,
of course,
the baby is ready to come out. I said, okay, fine. So he's like, I promise you an amazing dinner after.
Oh, how sweet.
So anyway, so then they cut my cervix off, and then in no time she was already there. I still remember I was listening to music. I was in labor. The music was on. I'm like going through that whole thing, and she was out pretty quickly.
Oh, wow.
And suddenly, there's still, everyone in the room fell silent. Like the music is still on, but it's like deaf. Then suddenly the music sounded deafening because there was absolute silence.
Oh my God. Okay.
And I'm like, like an instinct, like something happened. And then I was like, and the pediatrician was there, and he took her in his arms, and he's looking at her, and then he's looking at me, and I was like, is everything okay? That was my first question to him. And he said, yeah, that's absolutely fine, everything's okay. Do you want to hold her? Obviously we held her, we took pictures and stuff, and then she had to be rushed to the NICU because she was not breathing on her own properly, because she was prematurely born.
Yes.
So they took her there and everything was fine. The next day, this was very late at night, probably at 3 in the night when she was born. And then next day in the morning, I got up and I walked to the NICU to see how she's doing. And my husband and I got in, and we're like, I gave her, you do skin to skin. So I did skin to skin. I sat with her, and then we put her back in the NICU, in that crib of hers. And then we walked out. And then we were waiting for the doctor to come in, and Dr. Chittal to come in and say what's next, like when do we get out of the NICU and stuff.
Right.
And, I had all these thoughts, like how long is she going to be there? Is she okay and stuff? And like when the doctor's coming in, you always prepare like, okay, now what? What next?
Right.
And we're having this conversation. I'm having this conversation with my husband and I want to get my mind off. So we're like thinking who's going to name the baby now. And I'm like, listen, I've birthed a child. I am going to name the baby. The name was very clear in my head. So I had already decided like she's going to be Nora.
How sweet.
So for me, because that's like light.
Oh, lovely.
Right? So it means light. So Vivek was outside. He went into the NICU and Dr. Chittal looked at Nora and he's like, I think she may have Down syndrome. And I think, we should speak about it. So he was completely blank and he's like, okay, let me get Pooja in. And he came back to the room. He's like, okay, the doctor's here. He held my hand. And before we went in, he's like, just know everything's going to be okay. And when he said that, my heart dropped. I was like, oh my God, the worst has happened.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking medically, what has gone wrong, right?
Correct.
Like, are our
That's your
lungs
first
okay?
instinct.
Yeah, are her lungs okay?
Yes.
Is any part not developed well inside because she's prematurely born? And I'm like, and then I walk in, and then the doctor tells us, I think she may have Down syndrome. And I was like, what makes you say that? We've already done the tests. And the same things run through your head, right? Like, but I did the marker test, I did this, like, what happened? And then obviously all of that. And they were like, you know what? Dr. Chittal was amazing with us. We were just very grateful to have an amazing pediatrician.
Absolutely.
To show us in the positive light and not be like, I am sorry that.
No,
because that is the first thing that usually happens in a hospital.
That's the premise for your entire, journey with your child.
Correct.
No, of course. That's...
And the whole hospital and the nurses were in that phase of, I am sorry. But it was only Dr. Chittal who was like, it's okay, we're just going to figure it out. And then, once we figure this out, and I'll tell you what the next course of action will be. It's not the end of the world.
Good, that positive spark helps, no?
Yeah.
It really does.
So, and at that point of time, I was like, listen, I cannot process anything that you're saying right now. I need to know why you're saying this. And then he obviously showed us the markers that Nora had physically that indicated that she may have Down syndrome. Okay. And of course, as a mother, you're in denial at that point of time. What are you saying, that she has this? Yeah, but in my family, my father-in-law has eyes that go like this. I have feet, I have the sandal gap in my foot. Yeah. So or even some other markers that they might have seen. And I was relating it to everybody in the family. But this is our family. Everyone has something or the other. And they were like, yeah, but everything together makes it this. And then, we need to do a test to confirm it. And if you're not ready for it right now, we don't need to do it right now. Please take in as much as time that you need to do. And I was like, no, you know what? We need to figure this out now.
Right.
I was in no state to even think of anything else. I came back to the room and I think I was just blank for a while. The first thing Vivek did was Google successful people with Down syndrome. That was his first Google search. And he started reading up. Even before telling me anything, he just started reading up. He started seeing videos. He started seeing things on YouTube. Wow. And there was this show at that point of time called Born This Way.
Right.
It's an Emmy-winning show. It never made it to India, but there was clips and stuff of that on YouTube. So he started watching that. And there are adults and, living full lives and doing the things that they do, and they're being all captured, the family and the whole dynamics, and what are they, what are their strengths and what are they up to, and their struggles in a day-to-day life. The parents are having a conversation. So that in the hospital, Nora's born, and that's what we started watching together, in bed. And I think that gave me a little bit of hope that, oh, you know what? It doesn't look as bad or as scary as you think. But at the same time, this is US or this is abroad, this is not India. I don't know what it is going to be like that for my child here. And of course, you start thinking of the worst. She's going to be bullied. She's going to be, everyone's going to be mean to her. People are not going to look at her nicely. And so many unwanted, all these unresourceful things start coming in your head, which
is very natural.
Yeah.
Which is not going away from the norm, Pooja. So that's very natural. As a parent, anybody will think that, and and if you've given birth to a child, and this is what you're doing in the first 24 hours, as a mother, you have postpartum.
But I have literally
you've literally entered that phase. and you're dealing with something like this and emotionally kind of calm yourself down. So that's a lot to take on, and kudos to you for that.
Thank you. But I don't, so when someone asks me, did you have postpartum? I was like,
You would have
I
sailed
don't
through
even
it.
know.
You wouldn't have realized
I was
it.
like, I don't even know whether I had
Precisely.
postpartum or not because I had so many other things.
But when I'm talking about physically, internally, your hormones.
Yeah.
So many things that take place on
Correct.
the internal basis. And if you're dealing with something like that,
Yeah.
and having to, kind of emotionally stabilize yourself and understand as to what's just, happened. Also loving your child. I mean, it takes strength.
I don't think I could, like at that point in time, there was no love. 2 months before we established that bond.
You feel the love for your baby inside your stomach because that is, your baby, and it's yours. And then suddenly you have, and that is a natural feeling for all mums, I feel. That the connection comes in much later when you're hands-on with your baby.
Yeah.
And when you see the baby reacting to you.
That's exactly how I
know,
no, but I used
I've
to
been
always
there.
think I used to always think I was the only one, and I used to feel, and I used to be like I used to feel so bad that she's not connecting with me because I'm not connecting with her.
That's true.
Because
That
for
you
me,
feel it.
For me, maybe again, yes, it could be a part of postpartum, but at that point of time, for me, it was like I'm only seeing the diagnosis. I'm not able to see her.
Right.
So anything that she did was just because she had Down syndrome, not because she was a child, not because she's an infant who's just one who has needs.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. That is where all children are similar. And that is the strength of a mum to deal with all this within the first 24 hours of a child being born. And you had to deal with much more at that point of time.
Yeah, so I mean, after that, we were in the hospital for a week, and then we came home, and then we had to do, at 3 weeks, we had to go to a heart specialist so that we could get a heart check, that, any congenital issues had to be ruled out. So all of that was done. Those were the first month was a trying month because we needed to make sure, like, we had to rule out all the congenital concerns out of the way. And then I was very, very fortunate because my family was amazing. Yeah. I mean, they were dealing with their own trauma of not having what they imagined them to have their grandchild. Or the grief for me as a mom was different. The grief for him as a dad was different. The grief for the grandparents was different. But nobody expressed that.
Understand.
At least not in front of me. They were all a united front celebrating Nora, our grandchild, my child. So I think that gave me a lot of strength. But I think it also, at that point of time, I'm just like, this is not your child. You don't have to deal with this on a day in and day out basis. So I never had a positive attitude.
You wanted to retaliate.
Yeah, because I'm like, you're not dealing with this day in and day out. You're giving me all the positive concerns. You're telling me this is okay. But you know what? This is my child at the end of the day. And this child has a label forever. You don't know what it's like. So for me, I was just fighting with everyone. And I think because there was so much of emotion, negative emotions around this thing, but nobody interfered in that. They let me have those negative emotions.
That's the only way you would have released it.
Probably, yes.
It happens. You feel disconnected. And especially when you're more, it's fear because you're like, we had to celebrate it. And now look at what has happened. And that is a very natural feeling. But that does not take away your love for your child at all. It does not take away from it. So that, we live with that guilt, that, oh, we did this, but it's natural.
Yeah.
It's very natural. What helped you cross this from denial to acceptance? What was that? That shift where was that trigger that you felt now, I feel only love, and that anger or rebellion or retaliation, why me?
Yeah.
Because everybody faces that, why me? When did that
change?
Change or take a back seat and something else?
So for me, it was connecting with a parent of another child with Down syndrome. And this was, again, my sister-in-law introduced me to one of her friends, work colleagues, who has a child with Down syndrome. She was 18 then. So she's been through an entire 18 years with her. Right. And she connected with me from Toronto. Okay. And she would write to me, she would call me. And it took me a month to even address that, to even like connect with a mom and be like, or even like express my darkest thoughts. That because I didn't want anyone to judge me. Right. And then she gave me that strength. It's okay.
Exactly.
Feel what you feel. Like, she said it's fine. So I started connecting with her. I started talking to her. she gave me the steps how to move forward. Then I think slowly I saw Nora reacting to me. And I think it's always, as you settle into your
Motherhood.
routine, you realize, things aren't that bad.
And
I mean, it seems fine for now.
And the word is, you can manage.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Like, it's manageable. I mean, it's a very, you can call it a frivolous thought and saying, no, as a mother, how can you say that? No, but if you're doing it on a daily basis, you have to consider it a part of your life.
Correct.
And it has to be manageable first. Right?
Yeah. So it wasn't as intimidating anymore. And because I think she was more vulnerable than I was, because she was so little, right?
Of course.
So I feel like somewhere the connection was established between us, where I feel like she was trying to connect to me,
right,
to connect with her.
How
and I
sweet.
think, I just feel like that is why I still say Nora's emotional intelligence is through the roof. She may not be able to express it all the time, but I feel like even then she was trying to show me that, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I got you.
Sweet. But that's what always happens, right? That's why I always call them gifted children. And I do. Always. You've shared how your husband chose to look up success stories. How important was that shift, in perspective in building your own strength?
I think that was a very good start for us.
Yeah.
Like a very positive start. I've heard a lot of stories around, I'm sorry, our own hospital at that point of time, Karen Duja was absolutely like, I am sorry. And they were there was no celebration. There were no balloons outside our room. They were in that ward, the balloons outside every room except our room.
Oh my God.
So they usually give a cake to the, to the
Yes,
rooms.
I
We didn't
was
get
at Karen
that.
Duja
Yeah,
as
we
well.
didn't get
I
that.
know.
So I was like, why? So obviously she was not welcomed, right?
But that's...
Yeah. And then when you have that, and then you also have, if we only had that, then of course I would walk away with a negative.
But then you had Dr. Chittal.
And then I had Dr. Chittal, I had my entire family who, when like you want balloons, they set up the whole room with balloons.
That's lovely.
So, don't you worry, we're going to be there, because who matters is like we matter at the end of the day, not people around who don't value what the gift that we have. So, and that's absolutely fine. So I think that...
And it's life at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's it. That should be celebrated.
Yes.
Absolutely. I don't think there should be any distinction in that.
Correct. So I still have parents, I still have moms or pregnant ladies who message me like, I'm pregnant, how did you not know? And this is like, don't take it otherwise. I just want to know like what tests should we be doing more? And like, I'm scared of this. And I think it's such a personal journey. So I am pro-life.
Right.
I'm always like, you decide.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm not someone who can say that this is the choice that you should be making, or this isn't the choice. I don't know what the right thing is, but like...
It's personal.
It's so personal, yeah. Like maybe also my narrative has changed because I have been through this.
Right.
My perspective in life has changed because I have been through this. Had I not been through it and had gotten to know pre-Nora was born, maybe I would have been like, no, you know what, I'm not ready for this. Because I would have not known. So somebody asks me that question, like, would you have kept her?
Right.
I said, actually, I really don't know. But I assume the way I was back then, I would have probably said, no, you know what, I can't handle something like that. But I guess you really don't know your strength until you are faced through those situations.
Absolutely. No, it's not, as I'm saying, it's not something to be even judged. You get a lot of judgment for even saying all this. You get so much flack. Like, how can she say this? Be there. Be in a person's shoes. Face those emotions.
Yeah.
Face all the changes. And yes, maybe even anybody on the opposite end would say the same thing. They would just not voice it. They might just feel it.
Yeah. I had to just be vulnerable because I feel like that landed up being my strength.
From early interventions to daily therapy, how did you adapt to Nora's, evolving needs?
So we started therapy with Nora when she was 3 weeks old because I was guided very well about early intervention, and that is something which is missing in our system.
Absolutely.
So, but because I had someone who guided me not from India, I was given the importance. I was told why it was important, again by another parent. So if it had come by probably say somebody else who wasn't aware of it, or even say randomly, like if somebody told me this is what you should be doing, I don't know how much I would have received it. But because it came from someone who's been through the whole thing, I received it much better. I'm like, okay, you know what you're talking about.
That's
And you know the struggles that I'm going to face, and you're preparing me for those as well. And you're giving me a heads up that if these things happen, it's fine. If you're still struggling, because I was still learning to cope with the diagnosis, but I didn't want her growth. Like, I didn't want to get in the way of her learning. So I was like, okay, I'm going to keep my feelings aside for the evening. During the day, I am just going to switch off my brain and do what needs to be done, because I literally compartmentalize.
You have to.
This is the time that I can vent. This is the time where I need to take action. And also, I think it was so beautifully done and synchronized because I had my family. I cannot stress the importance of having your family or a village that can support you. You cannot do it single-handedly.
No one can. No one can. You do need a very, very, very strong support system. What were some of Nora's milestones that moved you or surprised you? Was there anything that...
So, like, every milestone for us was big because we were always leading up to it for months before she actually did the milestone, right? Because, and again, for us, that's what the small things, if a neurotypical child in their early months rolled over, it's like, oh, you know what, the child rolled over. Oh, what, great, the child sat and today they did this or today they did that. So because it's something that happens, it's such a natural transition.
Correct.
But for us, oh, you know what, it's a checklist. We have to help her learn to roll over. So we're going to start doing this at therapy. So it's very clinical, right?
Right.
But the thing is, it still doesn't take away from the joy when it actually happens. Because you're just like, she worked so hard. So she worked so hard to be able to learn how to stand. And I still remember the first time she learned how to, we put her straight. She was I think 13 months old or something, and she had never had never stood up on her own. I mean, she still wasn't, but we needed her to feel what that feels like. And so we held her, and I was taking a video, and she's standing, and I see this exhilaration because she's understanding what she's doing, right? And she's screaming like she can't believe that she's actually doing that. God. And I still remember the first time that she walked. She was 2 years old. So obviously she understands, like, a child who's 1 will not understand what their milestones, right? Not. At 2, when she stood and she's walking, she's actually like, can you see I did that? Like, I'm actually doing that. This is something new.
Wow.
So she was able to comprehend her own milestones. And I think that for me was amazing. And she still does.
It's like you're enjoying the energy that she exudes when she herself gets, I think it's more her surprise rather than yours now, I feel.
Yeah. And also, she knows what all she's worked towards to be able to do that. And even now, when she's doing the things that she does at, like at swimming or at gymnastics and stuff, because of her number of failures to be able to do those basic things, that resilience that develops through knowing that this is going to take, say, a year or whatever, that patience is there. Like, I don't have to be like, or I don't have to help her. Like, it's okay. I don't have to be like, it's okay, you'll do it. She just knows that, that thing, that
she's already got the path.
Yeah, that determination that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's never a doubt that it's not going to happen. And I think that has come because of...
And that doesn't happen for any of us on most days, I feel. That most of us are doubtful. So
that's self-doubt.
Exactly. That doubt always remains because we've not even had to try a few things. And it's, when they say things are easily available, you take them for granted. You feel, we can do it. And then when we fail, we get shocked.
Correct.
But if you've been dealing with failure from a young age, and then when you know that you've achieved every milestone, that by itself gives you confidence for life.
Yeah.
As I always say, I always feel that there is always a gift involved somewhere. How do you strike a balance between, her progress and protecting her from societal expectations? What is your take on these societal expectations that are so rampant? And how much ever we try to change that, unfortunately it's so deep rooted that I think, as you're saying, every voice matters. What is it that puts this entire thing into perspective for you? Like,
when it comes to doing things like, say, in school, of course, we are at a level where so all her peers will be doing something, and she's obviously not at the same level. But so we have an individualized educational plan for her, and we kind of stick our goals mainly the ones that we're working on, and we have to be very, very mindful of those goals.
Right.
Because what lands up happening is sometimes we set higher expectations, and when they're not met, she's already feels like a failure, and the idea is not to make her feel that
Of course
way.
not, yeah.
So I have, like, every now and then, yes, it does get to you that, oh, you know what, all these guys are doing that, I'm sure Nora can. She's doing so many other things, I'm sure we can push her to do that. So yes, we do get carried away sometimes.
Yeah.
But then again, there has to be a check where I feel like, oh, you know what, this is not working.
Right.
And that every few months, I have to remind myself that, okay, you know what, this is working, this pushing her is working for her, and this isn't. And then we go back and saying that, you know what, this is too much, and we need to pull back a little bit.
right.
And then there are times where she surprises us by doing a lot more than we expected out of her. So, and I genuinely feel that she works so hard. There's only that much she can do. Like she goes from 8 in the morning, she's back home at 6 in the evening, 6:30. And then literally, I mean, she is a child, but again, those early interventions and the therapies are equally important. I don't want her to be part of sports. I don't want her to be, just doing therapies. So we do push her, because at the end of the day, I know that she enjoys athletics, and I know that she enjoys being around people.
Right.
So, but just that how do I interact, right? That is
Correct.
the pressure that she puts on herself. So I think that maybe at some point we must have put on her as well, that Nora, you can use your words. Nora, try this. Why don't you do this? So she put that pressure on herself also. So when I realized that she's also putting pressure on herself, and I was like, you know what, we need to step back.
Yes.
Because that's not giving her confidence. So the moment I see her dimming her light, I realize that we are pushing her, because she's pushing herself. And those are those realistic goals and those markers where we step
Also,
back.
yeah, but it's an ongoing understanding even for you.
Yeah.
As a mother, because this is not like a sure thing that as you said, there are some places where she excels beyond your expectation, and there are some places where you feel you're pushing her. So no, again, as I'm coming back to the same point, it's an ongoing journey even of learning for you. You're learning every minute.
How to be a mom.
No, not how to be a mom. It's how to be human.
Yeah.
First, because I think before being a mom and everything, it's like it's basically even when you're connecting with any living being, that is your first connection is on a humane basis.
Correct.
And then after that, a mom. So there is no judgment ever on, that, oh, I did too much, oh, I did that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that as a mom.
Yeah.
We hold too much of guilt within us. There are times where
Yes.
even I push my daughter, and I realize, I said, why am I doing it? Let her breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we were kids, we didn't have hundreds of things to do.
Correct.
I mean, we enjoyed ourselves.
And we thrive.
And we thrived. I mean, we're sitting here because we thrived.
Correct.
Let's hope so. Okay, you've spoken about hurtful comments people make, often from ignorance. How do you navigate something like that?
So I used to take it very personally initially. I think also because I was in that phase where my main thing stemmed out from, why are they saying that? Why would somebody say that? Why are they
Protectiveness.
showing, like, why are they, maybe they mean this. In my head, I'm already forming this narrative, even if it's coming from curiosity or just like, again, if anybody asks me even now, what test did you do? Did you not know when she was pregnant? Back in the day, when anybody would ask me that, if I wrote about Nora, I'd be like, why do people have to ask such bad questions? Or why are they not sensitive towards it? But then I realized, as wisdom came, I realized that, people are only asking because they want to know.
Right.
Not everything comes from a negative space.
Right.
Again, before I knew about Nora, I would have judged any kid too. or any adult, and I would be like, oh, you know what? I would have assumed that their life is not full because they don't have what we have. If physically, if they're not capable as me, then maybe their life is not full. If intellectually they're not capable of keeping up with others, maybe that life is not full. And that was my narrative ahead.
Right.
But because Nora changed it and I learned better off it, I realized that, the first person to judge Nora was me. So the moment I stopped judging Nora, I stopped caring about anybody else doing that, because I understood that they're not really judging. And even if they are, it's out of ignorance. And maybe that's a good thing, because this is striking a conversation.
Right.
So let's have a conversation about it. And then I would share what my opinion would be, because how else would I start a conversation?
Exactly. And you've literally, I think, thrown so much light on something that a lot of people are very ignorant about. Very means extremely ignorant, and also very, as I always say, very technical and clinical.
Yeah.
So
there are people who still are negative or whatever. They come from, like, you'll read it and it seems like a negative comment. And of course, but for me, it's just like, it doesn't matter. You're starting a conversation. I'll indulge in a positive way. I am going to take this as a positive thing. And you know what? Let's have a conversation. And
you've seen the narrative change from there?
Yes, because I have changed the narrative for me. So I am not letting you cross my boundary and shake me.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't.
It stems out of you, right?
It doesn't bother me.
What do you wish that a lot of other parents, educators, doctors understood about Down syndrome without, I'm talking about the technicality?
I think just for all of us who did not know about differences before our kids were born, I wish that I could have told my previous self, or even people who don't know about it, that differences are just that. They're just differences.
Right.
They're just another way of processing the world around them. That's just another way of understanding or having an opinion, or just having a different perspective. Like, you may see something in a particular way, but because of your life experiences, the same thing after a few years, you will perceive it differently.
Right.
So the same thing with all of us, and none of us know what life is going to bring us.
True.
So, I mean, it's hard to, like, it's very easy to judge someone for their differences, but you know what? You don't know where life can lead you.
Absolutely.
And how different your life could look. And you want to be open to differences, because that's how you're going to be open to receiving everything in life.
Yeah,
I think because we became open to receiving, we started seeing the better of it.
Absolutely, because you never know when the tables turn, so you have to be at least open to understanding something in life without judging it.
Yeah, I feel like you don't know what life is going to throw at you, whether they're good things, whether you perceive them as good or bad. I mean, there could be things that happen, and then there could be things that happen in your life. It's how we perceive it, good or bad.
Right.
So if you're open to things, automatically anything that's thrown at you, you may not always perceive as bad.
Correct.
A change may not be perceived as bad, as long as we're open to it. So I feel like differences are just that. Like, we have so many kids who think differently. There's so many kids who, I think the overexposure of like schools now telling the kids that, oh, you know what, your kid is not behaving in a particular way. Why don't you go to the pediatrician and get it checked or get it diagnosed? Everything now wants to be labeled. I think that is, over-diagnosis is another thing which I feel
think
is...
labeling is where the things have gone wrong.
Yeah.
So it is better to stay away from labels and to keep kids, schools especially, from even parents or doctors, as you said, that you were not celebrated. That by itself is
changing the narrative on being sensitized. They need to be much more sensitized.
Of course, there has to be sensitivity that, it is a life.
Yeah.
No labeling, just celebration. And let the life breathe.
Yeah.
That's very important. What compelled you to share your story on social media?
So Nora was a month old, and I was literally looking out for people who I could connect with.
Yeah.
Like-minded people who could show me the way, people who could just guide me through. So I was like, if I don't know who to reach out to, maybe I can write about it and somebody who sees this can reach out to me.
Right.
In the meanwhile. So that was purely selfish for people to reach out to me and be like, it's okay.
Why not? If you can help yourself while helping others, I think it
I
works.
don't think the intention was helping anybody.
No,
The
but it just ended up happening like that. It worked out for the benefit of other people as well. So why not?
Eventually, yes.
Eventually, yes. How has choosing to take a sabbatical, shifted your bond, your daily rhythm as a family?
So yes, I do struggle with that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Days, in the sense, I just feel there is like a seam, like initially, obviously, because I was so caught up with Nora, and life became all about her. It was all about like being there for her. But I feel like a part of me lost myself in identifying that there's more to me, like there's more to me than just being around her,
Right.
just being a mom. Like that became my identity, and I still feel sometimes I struggle to draw that balance of knowing that I am a human.
Right.
I have needs.
Right.
I have a husband who's invisible most of the time.
That tends to happen.
Yeah. But so I was very open and vocal about us going and having couples therapy as well, because we've been through our own journey as well. So together with her, we were great. But then it only became about her, right? It only became that then came a point where we would have nothing else to talk about. It would only be about her, or like things that we would go through. And that's when we realized, we're losing
the connection,
the bond that we have. And then we wanted to work on things. And then slowly, of course, we keep working towards that back and forth. But at least now that we make more conscious mindful effort. Mindfully we work on that. So, I mean, that has been a conscious and mindful decision. Me trying to, go out and engage and give her that space as well, and take that space also has slowly, I think, and that has happened very naturally, organically. It's not intentionally. I wish I had made that. But even though it happened organically, I am so glad I saw that this is, this has happened, but look, she's growing. Her life isn't over.
Yes.
She's still thriving. So it's not that I have to be there, a part of her life every single minute for her to know how to thrive.
See, you can have simultaneous development, let's put it that way. I mean, for you, it's much more than just development. For you, it's internal peace as well at the end of the day, isn't it?
Correct.
Too often, people offer sympathy based on medical labels, but that's not what mothers are really seeking, are they? I mean, no mother wants sympathy.
Yeah.
As you said, it takes a village. You need support. Right. So, what kind of support do you think that mothers truly need?
I think when someone wants to vent, and I think that's all mothers, just listen. Nobody's asking for advice.
Yeah.
I just want to listen. I mean, that's what I usually do. Because when I was talking, I didn't want anybody's opinion. I just wanted them to listen. My mom would come and listen. My mother-in-law would come and listen. They never offered any advice because they all knew that I needed to let it out. And I think sometimes that's the best therapy.
Yeah, without being judged.
Yeah.
And you're venting. That venting is so important, isn't it?
Yeah. Just for someone to be like, yeah, I get it.
That's the major support I feel that mothers need.
Yeah.
And of course, on a daily level, like, when you're handling a child, you do need that kind of support as well on a physical level, because I mean there's as much as a mom can do at the end of the day, especially if you're a working mom, or I don't even think it's a working mom. I think a stay-at-home mom also has a lot of stress because you're there 24/7.
Yeah, there's no break.
There's no break at all. So that kind of, I think that's the mom who needs maximum support, I feel.
Yeah, and I think also just when you're with the child, especially in the beginning, in the initial months, it's just you and the child.
Absolutely.
I would just call my mom and my mother-in-law just to, like, I needed some adult. Just like
to
someone.
have an adult conversation.
Correct. Like, I don't want you to do anything. I don't want you to help me with anything, but just make me feel sane that I am not going crazy. Just sit and talk to me. That's it.
That's essential. What does your typical day at home look like now?
So usually the day is with Nora again, still. We drop her to school, we pick her up, we go for therapies, we're doing our thing. We have extracurriculars. I do work out with her as well, on and off, because that's something that I want her to be a part of. So we've started doing activities together. On the weekends, we plan play dates, we go out, we go for movies, we go to restaurants, we do a lot. Basically,
It's everything.
Yeah. Everything
which is as regular as,
Yes.
normal life.
Yes.
And that's what keeps it happy at the end of the day. I mean, that's what's going to keep everything progressing.
And I think it's more now that she's, as she's growing, she's obviously got her own, that this is, she'll do her own schedule, that this is what I want to do throughout the day. Because throughout the week, she doesn't get to pick what to do, right?
Right.
So the weekend is like, you decide. You plan your, your Saturday or your Sunday. And then she'll, from everything, from eating to sleeping to, and then there'll be days where she'll just come back at 6 sometimes in the evening and she'll be like, you know what, I want to go swimming. Wow. And I'm like, you know what, fine, go. You still have the energy, go.
Yeah. You mentioned looking for joy, once in a day. Where do you find your joy sometimes? Like, what is that moment of joy that you find as Pooja?
So I love to learn new skills.
Wow.
For me, that has kept me going. Growth is very important because I stopped growing after Nora was born. Of course I grew, but I just felt like for me, the way I wanted to do, I couldn't because I couldn't work.
Right.
So I felt like I had no growth. I had no identity. So I was like, I need to learn. So I pushed myself to learning new skills. Correct. Whether it is, again, writing that came naturally to me, which I didn't even know I could do. So I started writing. Then came physically, I love being physically active. So I pushed myself to learn new things. Nora was learning swimming. I had not learned swimming for 40 years of my life. I was like, you know what? This is what I'm going to learn. Because I don't want my anxiety to go to her when we are around in the water. Because I'm petrified of water. So because of her, I learned swimming. Yes. Yeah. Then I love to do monkey business. I love climbing the ropes. I love hanging upside down. I love doing things which make me feel alive.
Wow.
So, and these are things that I realize that she likes too. So those are things that we do together. Fabulous. But now, learning a skill, any skill, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, I'm making sure that, I'm picking up a skill and I'm learning that. That just gives me joy. And that skill I have to practice every day.
But that's productive as well. If there's one message you'd like to leave for the parents of children probably walking a similar path, what would it be?
I think the message that I'd like to give is that life has changed and life has not been what you may have imagined it to be. But I feel like, thank God, because how boring is life if you imagine and everything that happens, everything you imagine happens. If there were no twists and turns in life, there would be no growth.
That's true.
So, and I also feel that try and embrace what's coming your way right now. You may or may not be able to handle it, but you're better for it.
Right.
That's...
Thank you, Pooja. You've spoken with such honesty, positivity and grace. It's been so lovely having you.
I just feel like I'm having a conversation. Thank you for bringing up this topic and shedding voice and your time. Because I know that this thing means a lot to you, bringing voices.
It does.
Because it has uplifted you in certain ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Certain things have. And I'm so glad you decided and you actually turned around to do, because a lot of people have that thing in their mind, they would like to do this, but never really turn around to doing it. But you've made that happen for yourself, which is amazing.
Some voices, as you said every voice needs to be heard. I always say that yes, it is. It's very important for everyone to have a voice, especially someone who comes from a journey which could have broken them, but they have, kind of conquered that in every way possible, whichever way that works.
Just like you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you.